What's going on, guys? Welcome to a quick video for the Lord of the Rings LCG. Today we're going to take a look at a few of the upcoming cards that have been spoiled over the last few weeks by means of the dev streams, or even just officially from the devs themselves. And as we look at them, I'm going to give, by way of a quick review, my thoughts on the cards as well as we go along. Now, before we get into it, I do want to first remind everyone that all the cards shown in this video are a work in progress, which means that whatever you see might change by the time you get to play with it in game, and that includes stuff like the resource cost of the card, the text on the card, or even the sphere level of a card. So, with that said, let's get into the good stuff. The first few cards that we have to show are actually some of the only officially spoiled cards, meaning that they come directly from the devs themselves, and I didn't have to perform any shady back alley antics to get them. So enough foreplay, let's slip right in. Let's take a look at Shot from the Sky. It's a 2-cost tactics event card. It says deal 1 damage to and exhausts every enemy with flying. Okay, firstly, from what I can remember, this card will be a quest reward that each player will unlock once they complete whatever quest this card is tied to. Yeah, you heard that right. Every quest, I think, will have its own card reward. So think of how the encounters work with the card reward after those. There's going to be one for every quest in the game. So 20 cards just to unlock. I think 20 cards, yeah. As for this card, it kind of feels a bit situational right now. So 1 damage to all flying creatures doesn't seem very impactful, I would say. But I will admit that the exhaust feature is really nice for gaining some action advantage, at least on the few locations that have multiple flying enemies right now. I think I can think of location 2 of quest 1 and location 1 of quest 3 in the Shadows Reach campaign. Now, one thing that's definitely worth noting about this card right now is that it does not mention non-unique enemies. So there's some potential here for cheesing maybe a few boss type enemies with flying in the future. I'm thinking some kind of fell beast, maybe. Even so, for now, I'd say this card is more of a sideboard card. I think we'll see what the future brings for this one. Right now, it's kind of a bit, whatever. Alright, moving on. A Good Deed. Legolas only, gain 1 attack value. Legolas upkeep ability does 1 additional damage. Woo! This card is sick. Apart from being restricted to Legolas, this is all upside. With just this card on Legolas, he is capable of dealing out 5 damage around. For 1 resource, yeah. So his upkeep will deal 2, and then because he gets an attack boost from this card, he will attack for 3 ranged. And get this, it's a special attachment. That's really, really interesting. So if you boost this with additional damage dealing attachments like armor and weapon attachments, you got yourself a real good powerhouse of an attacker with Legolas. And as this card is now, I think it'll be an auto include in any deck running Legolas. So yeah, this is insane. I love it. Great card. Alright, next up is Sword That Was Broken. Another hero specific card, this one for Aragorn. And it's another special attachment card. Wait, you mean I can't play this and Enduring Valor at the same time? This better be damn good. It says Aragorn only, gain 1 willpower, vanquish, discard Sword That Was Broken, and gain Endure Flame of the West. Okay, firstly, it's hard to evaluate this card fully because it's effectively only half a card. We don't know what Endure Flame of the West can do yet, but I think it's safe to assume that it'll be good, especially if it's in addition to the willpower gain. It's Also worth mentioning that the only thing you need to do to get this card to flip is to have Aragorn kill a single enemy, so getting Enduro should be pretty easy. Now I'm actually really excited for this one for two reasons. One, I really like the Vanquish keyword for this game. It's one of my favourite mechanics, you know, why wouldn't I want to get rewarded for killing stuff? But the second one is that I've always loved the flip/transform card mechanics in games. I'm a big fan of like the flip werewolf cards from Magic the Gathering, so I'm really hoping that this card is the first of many flip cards for this game. So, some of you might be asking yourselves by now, what's with all these hero-specific cards? Well, we have a new feature coming to the game, and it looks to be really cool. So what is it? Well, it is the hero-specific challenges, which means that each hero in the game will have a specific challenge that that hero has to overcome in order to earn a specific card reward that is unique to that hero. The challenges will also be unique and aim to capture the style of that hero's playstyle. Now we have an example of one such challenge. This one is for Aragorn, and that one rewards the card we were just talking about, the sword that was broken. And from this in-game image you can see both the hero specific card for Aragorn as well as the requirement needed to unlock, or the challenge you need to complete in order to get that card. So for this one it says take 7 actions with Aragorn in a single round. How cool is that? Now if this is the first time you're seeing these hero specific challenges or hearing of them, no doubt you're already thinking of some cool lists to tackle this challenge. I know I am, and I can't wait to get deck building on this. And that's why this is such a good idea for this game. It encourages deck building and replayability, and potentially could be a great way of learning a hero that you're maybe not comfortable with or not super familiar with. You know, if there's a challenge tied to them, you're going to be forced to deck build around it and learn that particular hero's nuances. On top of that, they also serve as in-game achievements, but ones that reward actual in-game rewards and benefits, so aka the best kind of achievements that you can get in a game. Now, I do have to reiterate here that everything you see in this video is subject to change before actual release, but it's still really easy to get excited about the potential of this new feature and wonder what each of these hero challenges are going to be. Like, what's the hero challenge for your favorite hero, you know? And is it going to be an easy or one of the harder ones to do? Now, this Aragorn challenge is the only one we have seen the requirements for so far, but it's not the last hero card that we have to look at. Our next spoiler card is a Daughter of Kings. It's a 2-cost event card that says restore Eowyn to full health, deal 2 damage to an enemy, requires Eowyn. Now, I firstly have to apologise for the quality of this image. I had to snag it from a Twitch stream, so it's not going to be as high definition as the first couple of cards we looked at. But getting to the card, I have to admit that when I first saw this one, I was kind of a little bit meh on it. But I think I've come around on it a little bit. The reason why I was a little bit hesitant on it at first was because Eowyn never really struck me as being much of a heavy damage taker or defender. I generally always use her for her willpower stat and maybe an occasional attack now and then. But then I remembered that Enduring Valor is a card that exists, and you know me. Now, does that make it a good combo? No. But it is possible that with a Daughter of Kings we could see Eowyn taking a more defensive role in some decks, especially in mono or dual sphere spirit decks. I'm really interested to see what the community can do with this one, and what decks it will fit in. So yeah, and hey, it's nice to see healing outside of lore, especially in spirit. So speaking of having healing in spirit, I have Hope in a Dark Place. Now here's a card that's a bit of a problem for me. Firstly, it says it's a 2-cost special attachment that says end of round, restore 1 health to every character if someone has more units than the player. I don't know how to evaluate this card like at all. Partly because this card does not speak to me as a player and deck builder in this game. I like to go wide and have lots of allies, so yeah, and it's being a 2-cost special attachment in Spirit, it gives me major Ever My Heart Rises vibes, which is another 2-cost special attachment card in Spirit that honestly never felt that impressive considering other more relevant cards that exist within that same space. Think of Unexpected Courage, Star Brooch, Enduring Valor. Okay, I'll stop, I'm sorry. Now, I don't really have much to say on this one, so I'm going to throw it to all of you. Let me know what you think of this card in the comments below, and what decks you think that a Hope in the Dark Place can fit in. Now, upon further reflection, I think this card could mainly be for the Hobbit archetype that we'll get down the line. Speaking of which, our next card is the card Cleverness, a 0-cost event card that says, if Sauron has 3 or more resources, steal 1 resource. If not, a Hobbit gains stealth until they act. Now, this is a card that I find interesting. I really like Bilbo's ability and effect on the 5th quest of the Shadow's Reach, where you get to use him. So having a similar effect printed on a card that can be used on any quest is cool. In fact, I think this is a great card for that particular quest because it can help you protect Bilbo if you need to. Or it could just be used as a sideboard tech by anyone who's having trouble with journeying down the Endwin. Now, the restriction on this card is also very interesting in that the steal option is only available if Sauron has 3 or more resources. This could mean that this card has an interesting timing factor, in that if you play it too late, Sauron will already have spent all of his resources, but you don't want to be too hasty with playing it too, in that you could leave a character vulnerable to a killing blow, which makes me think that maybe this card might be a really good delay card to play at a very specific moment when Sauron has made all of his attacks, but before he plays anything from his hand. This is also a card that makes me super excited for the inevitable Hobbit archetype that we're going to get down the line. And the theme really shines, I reckon, in this card. The art seems to depict what looks like the Master Burglar Bilbo stealthing around Smaug's treasure hoard, looking for the Arkenstone. And I think that's kind of reflected in the text too, in that you're either stealing something or you're hiding. So I like that. As for the stealth aspect of this card, I find it really interesting. Again, it's restricted only to hobbits, which makes this a little less relevant considering that we only have a handful of hobbit allies and 2 hobbit heroes, though I think it's safe to expect that Sam and Frodo will be coming pretty soon. But I really like that the stealth effect here is semi-permanent and doesn't just last till the end of the round, but rather until they next make an act. Say what you will about the stealth mechanic, I'm really interested to see where the developers take it, and I feel it could potentially become a very powerful mechanic. If you think about it, if you have 2 hobbit heroes, say you've got Fredegar Bolger and Tom Took. Is it Tom Took? Yeah. I can't remember. If you have the 2 hobbit heroes in the game and they both have stealth, that's two characters on your side of the board that Sauron cannot attack. So I think that's going to be really interesting to explore down the line. Now, this card, I think, in most cases will probably only exist within the Hobbit tribal builds, especially because, gaining strength already exists, which is kind of similar. Let's move on to the next one. A good point. A 0-cost weapon attachment, gain counter. Alright, put this on Erkenbrand. Enough said. Alright, because it's a 0-cost card, I think it's no loss to put it on something like Guard of the Citadel or even Erebor Watchman. So, yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the next one. Grace of the Elder, a 2-cost event in lore, -1 threat, restore 1 health to every character. Oh, alright, awesome, great card. Threat reduction in law is nice, but the healing effect is where it's at with this one. I consider this card to be the co-op version of Bayon's Hospitality. Yeah, every character. Support decks rejoice. Because let's be honest, Bayon's Hospitality in co-op is awesome. It's an awesome card. But how often are you choosing the heal 4 on a single hero option? This just takes away a less valuable option and gives you threat reduction instead. Good card. Great. Awesome. Let's move on to the next one. Grateful Escapee, or Escapee. 2 costs, Law Ally, Woodman. 0 attack, 0 willpower, 3 health. +1 willpower to every character. Damn! Law's getting some good stuff. Again, let me repeat something here. Every character. Another great card for both solo and co-op play. Also, this effect isn't an enter the battlefield effect. This means that as long as this character is alive and on the board, any character played after this one gets that willpower boost as well. The downside though is that this is a very soft ally card with only 3 health. And it can't do much outside of just sitting on the board and applying the buff. So we do need to be able to keep him alive and have other things to do as well. So I don't think this is a big downside though, really, because we've already gotten used to sort of being able to do this with Imladra's Caregiver, who's also only got 3 health. So it shouldn't be too difficult for us to keep her alive, especially the escapee alive, especially if it's in a leadership package. But this is a really good card. I'm thinking this is going to make waves in the deck building community. We'll see what happens. We're coming to the end. We have one more card to spoil, and it's Bill the Pony. Yay! A 2 cost unique ally card for leadership, double leadership actually. It's a level 2 card. 1 attack, 1 willpower, 5 health. Upkeep, gain 1 resource. Play at -2 resources while you control Sam Gamgee. So essentially free. Whoa. Even without that second part of the text, if it was just upkeep, gain 1 resource, this would be well worth it. But being able to play it for free with Sam Gamgee, awesome. Why wouldn't you run it with a Sam double leadership deck? And the fact that it's actually got printed stats on everything, so it's got 1 attack, which is good because its upkeep ability is, it's just going to happen. So you can build a pony for another action as well. 1 willpower and 5 health. The 5 health is good because it means it's easier to keep him alive. He can generally withstand 2 to 3 attacks. And being in leadership, he's easy to protect. So I think this is a great card. With or without Sam Gamgee. But, thick. Awesome. Love it. Okay, that covers all the spoiler cards that we have to look at for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing all the upcoming cards that I have no idea when they're coming, but hopefully soon. Let me know what your favorites were, or even your least favorite down below. Don't be shy. Shout out. I'll reply back to you as soon as I can. Anyway, that does it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys.